Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're watching why the 2017 XXL freshman class failed. I personally believe, like, before we get into it, I'm just gonna say that the main reason is that people got older and their taste changed. Their taste changed. I don't know, I can't speak today. And I just think that's one of the big major reasons. Like a lot of people fall off is because they're great for the time that they're out, and once that time changed and those people that listen to them get older and their taste changed, it kind of is the fall off of people's careers. So it's like really generating a great fan base. Let's hop into this video.
Sometimes a XXL freshman class can seem to have unlimited potential and still end up being nothing more than a dud. Fresh from one of the most legendary groups that they have ever assembled during the previous year in 2016, hip-hop fans obviously had some high expectations for the next lineup to be revealed, as it was hyped up to be just as iconic. However, you can argue that only one of them has stayed hot to this day, and even that's been somewhat of a bumpy ride. Meanwhile, one of its most promising voices was tragically killed before he could ever make the impact that he was capable of. My name is Luesta, and this is why the 2017 XXL freshman class.
If you want to watch this video by yourself and you don't want me to react to it, the link to this video will be down in the description.
Failed. So let's start off with a rapper who actually managed to get a #1 album 2 years after appearing in the annual list, but somehow still managed to get clowned on for doing so. We're talking about a man who goes by the name of A Boogie in the Hoodie. Well, he had some major steam behind him at the time of joining the list and was fresh from supporting Drake on the Summer 16 tour. A Boogie was determined to use his melodic rhymes to put on for his hood of High Bridge, New York. Releasing his debut album, The Bigger Artist, that same year, A Boogie racked up a couple of hits like Say A and Beast Mode, as well as guesting on Kiki with Tekashi 6ix9ine. Then, he really made it into superstar status when he released his banger hit song called Drowning with Kodak Black, as this track alone went 9 times platinum. But after getting all this momentum, he was about to lose some love from the hip-hop community, as in October of 2017, it was reported that Boogie and his fellow XXL classmate, PNB Rock, who we'll be also discussing later in this video, put the beats down on one of the most beloved figures in hip-hop, Lil B the Bass God.
Lil B says that Boogie and his crew jumped him, and according to Lil B, it was because Boogie and his crew or whatever didn't care for B.
Lil B is the most known person I've ever seen in my fucking life, because the people, like, when you say his name, they're like, oh, I know Lil B, or they don't know him. It's like in between, bro. It's like either you know him or you don't know him.
His opinion of his music.
In case you aren't familiar, Lil B is probably the most wholesome rapper to ever emerge from the genre, at least as far as the internet is concerned. After he critiqued the current state of hip-hop stars coming out of New York at the time for sounding too much like Future and Dej Loaf, A Boogie didn't want to let that slide.
Dej Loaf is a name I haven't heard in a minute. He was pretty much one of the main
New York artists who were blowing up back then. But instead of just letting people have their own opinions and think what they want to think, he instead got together with his crew and got violent. And the attack was even captured on video. Damn. Obviously, I cannot show you the footage on YouTube, but just know it was pretty brutal. And to get this kind of punishment for something as small as a critique, it really wasn't a good look for A Boogie. To make things worse, the Bass God took it to the chin, and in the aftermath of the attack, Lil B went on stage and still claimed that it was just all love.
A Boogie and his whole crew just jumped me in the back, man, and beat me up in the back, man. That shit crazy, man.
Damn, bro got his ass whooped and then hopped on stage. It's crazy.
Hey, but I'm gonna tell y'all like this. It's all love. I don't promote violence. I'm never with the violence. So I love them, and it's all good.
To not even be slightly mad or resentful at someone who got an entire crew to put the beats on you for a simple comment, this really showed the mental stability someone like Lil B had. And even other rappers like Travis Scott were seen condemning A Boogie's actions from the stage later on that same night.
Protect Lil B at all fucking costs, motherfucker.
Although they reportedly had a phone conversation and patched things up, that was it for a lot of people when it came to A Boogie. And a lot of people believe that Lil B's infamous curse, which he himself placed on sports stars and or rappers who dissed him, would affect his career. With users commenting, A Boogie is about to catch this curse for the rest of his life.
They had him on fucking ESPN one time, just randomly watching ESPN, and like Lil B just shows up. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? He had I think he put a curse on Kevin Durant, or something like that. It's so crazy.
And A Boogie will be irrelevant within 2 years after assaulting the bass god. At this point, it was clear that A Boogie alienated many hip hop consumers, but thankfully for him, he had a strong base who are willing to simply enjoy the music. With that, he managed to score a #1 album with Hoodie Season in December of 2018. However, rather than the headlines being about him reaching this milestone, the #1 was tainted by being recognized as the first chart-topping artist to sell fewer than 1,000 physical copies. So,
Damn.
rightfully so, it left A Boogie frustrated, but it also made him determined to prove
physical
the
copies?
naysayers wrong.
Like, yo, what does a #1 album really mean, though? Like,
#1 album means like it don't mean get comfortable. It means for me it means get more hungry because a lot of people choose to get comfortable after their #1 album. That just mean like you sleeping. And a lot of people slept on me. Speaking of sleeping, like a lot of people slept on me for like the past year. I felt like, and right now I'm about to go crazy.
Since then, A Boogie has pretty steadily dropped an album every 2 years or so. And on top of
In other words, he lied.
the fact that he has never had another smash single like Drowning or another #1, it also seems like a lot of people just stopped checking for him after his moment in the driver's seat. And unfortunately, in a genre like hip-hop where perception is everything, it's pretty difficult to overcome that obstacle when the world decides whether you're no longer hot. A Boogie fans really hate to see it.
What I said at the beginning, people grow up, taste changes, you're done. Enjoy especially if you're not, like, I'm not gonna say talented, because talented is not a good word for it. Especially if you're not like a household name. Like, if you're a household name, there's like kind of nothing bad you can do unless you do something terrible that's gonna stop people from listening to you. But if you are one of the lower guys who are just like breaking through, one of the underground guys who breaks through, you have to find something quick to stick to, or find something to keep your name going, because once that time changes and those kids grow up, nobody's gonna be listening to you no more. So you gotta find your route quick.
Now absent from the Billboard Hot 100 since 2022's Drowning Part 2, A Boogie shows what happens when the public
I didn't even know
just
that was a
loses
thing.
interest in your sound, and there isn't enough going on to keep them hooked. While for Kyle, his cheerful take on hip-hop was just never going to succeed long-term in the trap era. Initially rapping under the name Super Duper Kyle, this Ventura, California MC was nothing close to a stereotypical gangster rapper.
Bro was like, Kyle had that one thing, I think it was broccoli. He had broccoli with Big Baby John. No, he had broccoli with, was it Big Baby John and Lil Yachty? I forget which one. And then he had another thing. That went crazy. But like, once again, times change. You gotta change your music. And that shit don't work no more. You gotta find a new
Exploding
slang.
onto the mainstream with the Lil Yachty assisted I
Lil
Spy
Yachty.
in 2016,
I Spy
he
was
would
Lil
soon
Yachty.
sign a deal with Atlantic Records,
then
who
Broccoli
obviously
was
saw a
with,
ton of potential
Baby
with his
John.
happy-go-lucky sound. He was cut from the same cloth of that of say, Chance the Rapper, which in and of itself should be a telltale sign of something bad to come. But while there is no denying that this hyper-positive trend
I predict Chance about to make a comeback. I'm saying this right now. Chance the Rapper is about to make a comeback. I feel like a lot of you feel me, a lot of Chance's music was about his wife, was about having good times and how great times are meant to last forever. Like, a lot of his music was like that. You know what I mean? And a lot of music was about like how his positivity and how everything in his life was going well. He literally says, like, in one of his songs, that he loves his life so much. He probably died. He probably cried at his own funeral or some shit like that. It's with him being divorced from his wife, and if you didn't know, Chance and his wife are getting divorced. I expect the best music from Chance right now, because Chance was always a vulnerable artist, and he became a little bit too stale because his life was very like regular. Like, I'm not saying it in a bad way, but like saying it in a way that like, hey, this, if you want to rap about your life, there it's going to get stale after a while, and it did. With him going through this, I expect to see a whole new Chance and Chance to revive his career. Like, I just see it. It's unfortunate the reason that I think is going to happen, but I think it's a chance for Chance.
trend of hip-hop was a change from the norm, it wasn't one that everyone necessarily welcomed. This meant that when it was time for him to drop his freshman freestyle in 2017, the comment section got hijacked by memes mocking his friendly personality, with comments like, Kyle the type of dude to stop at a red light in GTA. Kyle the type of guy to apologize when he knocks someone out in dodgeball. When it comes down to it, this is exactly why Kyle ended up flopping. Although his debut album, Light of Mine, was a respectable project and ended up being certified platinum, its follow-up, See You When I'm Famous, was anything but that. By that point, people were angered by his sound, especially since he was edging closer to the age of 30. Now, there may be another reason to his fall off other than the simple fact that people just got tired of listening.
It's crazy because when Kyle had changed his look, so he cut off the hair. In the first video, like, I seen this video and I thought it was Kid Cudi. Like, I didn't listen to the sound, I just saw the video and I thought it was Kid Cudi.
To him. In June of 2021, he returned to being independent and seemed to hint that the major label system just didn't work out for him.
I feel like when I was independent, you really have to stand on your own 2 feet. You know, it's literally just you. So when you're standing in your own 2 feet, you're really grounded in who you are. And I think when you're with, you know, a bigger record label like that and you're a part of this machine, you start playing the machine game a little bit, and your music is almost more of like a laid out thing that you already know what you're gonna do in order to obtain this result, whereas now I'm like kind of just being myself again. Or at least that's what it feels like. Biggest difference is,
left with the best years of his career behind him, Kyle is still out here grinding. The only problem is that fewer people are interested in his sound than at any other point in his.
No, he put out a song called I think it's called Unapologetic. Shit's fire. Shit's fire. It's not like his rapping style. It's more like a song, and that shit's fire. It's very fire.
Career. And his fellow classmate Made Tayo has experienced the same fate.
Bro,
as of now,
I hated this motherfucker, bro. Bro. So, like, mind you, 2016, 2017, I was in high school. And first off, we thought his name was Made in Tokyo. And, or was it Made in Tokyo? It doesn't Tayo stand kind of, okay, whatever. Bro, I hated this motherfucker, bro. Like, every time he would come in on a song, I would turn that shit off. I was listening to my friend was listening to Hot Shower by Chance the Rapper. If you know Hot Shower, he's on it. And every time his verse comes on, I'm like, bro, could we skip this shit, bro? I don't know what it is about him, but it was like, I just didn't understand it. Like, I didn't understand what it was, but it was like, every time he came on, I was like, bro, I just can't do it, bro.
He's gone from millions of views to just 8K on an official video. A military kid who moved around a lot before settling in Tokyo for much of his youth, Made in Tayo made a huge impact when he first arrived on the scene with the banger hit song that was Uber Everywhere. Considering he came up around the time as people like Lil Uzi and Yachty, there's a case to be made that he could have easily been a part of that legendary 2016 freshman class. But before he even released his debut album, people were already a little cynical on how he would evolve as an artist. However, at that point, some people were okay with it as long as he kept cranking out hits. Although Uber Everywhere and tracks like Skateboard P also made some major waves, people were waiting on the next evolution of his sound.
Shit, bro. I hated
and
that
in
shit.
interviews around that time, he insisted that he had something special coming on his debut album.
So this album that I'm working on, like, it's a mixture of everything like that I'm working on. So you got some vibes from Metro on there. You have like some vibes with me and Pharrell. That's more on a singing vibe, like house vibe. I want to give a mixture because it's like a mixtape, like an album.
Bro, I'm even bored
You gotta
listening
give
to
a
him, bro.
mixture
Oh
of
my
everything.
God.
But when the project Sincerely Tokyo arrived in 2018, there was none of that real sonic growth people expected. As a result, the album flopped with the exception of Ned Flanders with A$AP Ferg becoming a sleeper hit. Since then, there's been speculation that he has fallen off, which now seems to be all but confirmed. Now working on more jazzy lo-fi rap these days, Made in Tayo had no shortage of talent, but just got too deep in a lane to the point that he couldn't escape even when he finally did evolve.
People grew up and stopped listening to him. I'm not. It's the same thing with damn near every rapper on here, other than X, P&B. Well, P&B kind of went through the same thing, but like, yo, literally people grew up.
Just follow me on X though, so shout out to him. But whatever happened to Ugly God? Well, he
Didn't he go to
himself is
jail?
on record saying that being part of the 2017 XXL freshman class did more bad than good to his career. I've dedicated an entire video to Ugly God's downfall before, But in case you haven't seen it, here's the condensed version of what went wrong with this particular 2017 freshman. Seen as much of a meme as he was a musician, Ugly God really came to the forefront of the game with the hugely catchy single titled Water. Often seen as a mumble rapper, he was reluctant to accept that definition for the new wave of hip hop. But he did admit that what he was doing wasn't exactly groundbreaking.
I knew once I started blowing up that hip hop was completely fucked. Like, it's just not the same, bro.
Bro, that's what a lot of people are saying, bro. You can come up with a catchy hook. Literally, how the new hip hop artists are coming up. Either they got a super catchy hook that a more like cemented artist wants to hop on and hop on their song. You look good, like you a girl and you look fucking bad as shit. Motherfuckers gonna overlook your music, and you're literally gonna make money because people just want to look at you, bro. Like that's literally how people are coming up, bro. It's rare to see somebody come up and they're going places just because of talent alone. It's very rare, bro. Like it's very rare. There's a lot of people we listen to right now in your phone, in your playlist. There's a lot of people that that you have in your playlist right now that 5 years ago you're gonna be like, why the fuck is this here? What the fuck was I going through in this point in time that this motherfucker was on my playlist, bro? I swear, bro.
Anytime you let a kid get into the hip hop fucking in the rap game that raps about beating his meat, it's not the same. Like, you know, Tupac probably looking down pissed off, Biggie pissed off.
You said that you feel your music is trash.
Oh, it's trash, terrible.
Suddenly in the limelight, Ugly God would fail to deliver another track as big as Water. And in his own estimations, things just accelerated too fast for them to be sustainable.
Before XXL, and even the Water shit, I even say Wild Water was coming out. But my fan base was growing so like steadily and organically. And then like just looking at my numbers, which I fucking hate going by numbers, but sometimes it matters, and like going by numbers and like as far as my followers and like my analytics and stuff, as soon as XXL happened, that shit shot the fuck up.
I bet.
And it was I feel like I didn't get my core fan base.
Conceding in a lengthy Snapchat post that while my joke around songs are fun,
I said that before too. Like if you're gonna be an artist, and you know obviously you can't tell what song is gonna be a hit. What person is going to hear this and be like, oh, this is number one, this is, you know, top 3, stuff like that. You don't know at all. But like you have to really build a very, you know, great and stable fan base, because no matter what you do or what you experience or what you try out, that fan base that fucks with you, and if you build it right, fucks with you, will support you no matter what. So building a great fan base and building people who fuck with you for you is very underrated and gets kind of swept under the rug with all the success shit.
To make and churn up to, I'm creating no kind of substance or mark. Ugly God would realize that hip hop has an obscenely quick turnover rate when it comes to viral stars. Right. And by the time he dropped his debut album Bumps and Bruises in August of 2019, his momentum had basically disintegrated.
Being inconsistent, bruh, that shit was totally my choice. I didn't want to burn myself out, and I'm thankful for that. I low-key felt like I couldn't come back. I couldn't bounce back unless I had a good-ass feature on the shit. My Whoa Now song, bro, we got some good-ass ad-libs on it, bro. This shit's so amazing, but niggas been bullshitting me on that song for 2 years straight, bro. Since I previewed it, bro. Like my brother said, like my brother Cash said, you know, this rap shit just like high school, you feel me, bro? Niggas want to be around who the hottest, who around, who all in the scene and shit. Y'all know that's just not me.
Because of how much he has gone off the radar, it meant that when he was hauled into police custody over allegedly murdering his best friend's father, it was the first time that a lot of people had even heard the name Ugly God in years. It's almost been a year since the news broke, and no one's really sure if it's real or fake. But one thing that is for sure is that he has been struggling to escape his comedic image and be given a chance to be a real artist. Recently, he's tweeted that he has 3 albums ready to go, but that he doesn't know how to go about it without a label. I personally suggested that he does a small press run, perhaps going on a podcast with someone like Academics or Kai Sanat would help him generate some buzz again. But until then, Ugly God now has a long road back to the top. While for Oakland,
but this can like, I feel like a lot of artists are venturing off into different phases in their career. Like you as an artist, unless you're like one of the top artists, have to do something else to keep your name out there. Like you said, going on Kai Cenat stream, going on Aiden stream, going on a press run. But like you have to like promote yourself in a way that is genuine, because like you don't want to go back into that same cycle where you got Kai's fans supporting you, and then once you're off Kai's stream, and once the hype around you from that stream dies down, these motherfuckers go right back to not fucking with you, and you're back in the same situation you were before.
Brooklyn's Kamaya, her journey to the peak of the industry
I remember
never
Kamaya.
really got underway due to a bad deal. Hailing from the Bay, Kamaya was a talented female spitter who had already collaborated with legends like E40 in her
I know,
early
bro.
career.
I was about to say
but
that.
she really got some
She's
extra
like a
shine.
female fucking E40, bro. She
When
was
she
fired
inked
for
a
a
deal with
song.
YG's Interscope-backed 400 label. Along with dropping her own underrated A Good Day in the Ghetto project on the imprint, she also got a guest feature on YG's Still Brazy album that got herself appearing on a track with Drake himself. With Why You Always Hatin' tearing up the clubs, Kamaya seemed like she was aiming for stardom. So it was no surprise that she got a spot on the XXL Freshmen 2017. But while on 400, that momentum she had just ran out. After a while, she decided that staying there just wasn't going to get her where she wanted.
It's just like, I'm not gonna flourish here. If I stay here, I ain't gonna never be what I'm supposed to do. I mean, never be what I'm supposed to be and reach my maximum altitude, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, this ain't a fit for me. It ain't what I envisioned myself being. This ain't my vision for my career. So I had to do what I had to do. It was best for me.
To make matters worse, she said that her and YG didn't exactly end on good terms either.
There were some things said that I felt like until he rectified and apologized, I don't feel like it's the point of me having a conversation. Because then I'm pacifying your actions. And me being a woman and a queen that stand on my word, I felt like you got to be a man and stand on yours and apologize.
Back on her independent grind, Kamia still has a lot of supporters in the Bay and beyond. And that's ultimately because she was left to stagnate on YG's label when she really should have been capitalizing on the buzz of that Drake feature. Now, that window looks to have closed, but her and YG did patch things up during a show in Oakland in 2023. For Kamaya, the time frame where she was popping off after the 2017 XXL freshman list was incredibly small. But it still pales in comparison to how short-lived the buzz around Cap G was. An MC from Atlanta, Cap had been grinding.
Bro, I forgot that this motherfucker existed, bro. Oh my god, I'm trying to think of the song he
Since
had.
2014's Like a Mexican, and got some early traction collabing with Chief Keef, Jeezy, and many more. But he finally blew up when he released 2016's Girlfriend. At that point, people were fascinated by who he was and the story behind his rise to fame. And rather than fabricate any stories, he was straight up about who he was and who he wasn't.
And I ain't even gonna lie, like, I'm gonna keep it 100. I ain't no gangster. I ain't trying to be nothing I am. I'm just me. I just do me, you know. I'm just cool. And I don't gotta go through that. Sometimes you can be like,
what I say, like 2 videos ago, if you're doing a Vlad TV interview, your career's over.
you be itching to do it, cause you know, like, shit, it be a quick come up, but it's like,
over.
nah, man, just
Either
stand
you are
up.
OG.
After signing to Atlantic
if you're doing
Records,
one
Cap
when
was
you're young,
appointed to the
it's
XXL
over, bro.
freshman class. But despite being featured on that list, he released his debut album, Super Jefe, the same year, and it didn't even make it onto the charts. After that, things got only worse for him in 2018 when he dropped the follow-up, No Cap, with some critics writing that he went from the XXL freshman class of 2017 to, well, nowhere really. After so many misfires on Atlantic, he decided to go independent. When he discussed the move, it seemed like he was hinting towards the label trying to steer him in a direction that didn't help his career or sacrificed his authenticity.
I'm gonna keep it independent for a minute until, because a lot of people don't know, like, for some people a label might go well with them, but sometimes like a label, like if you don't got nothing going on and like you just starting off, a label would try to point you in another direction to make you blow, and that might not be you.
Still dropping steadily to this day, recent singles like Been Him would suggest some signs of life there. But the only issue is that no one is listening, and some of his songs are getting around 20k views on YouTube at this moment. And even his fans feel like there's no one to blame but himself for how he fell off. At the moment, there's nothing stopping Cap G from mounting a comeback if he can get the audience's attention again. And unfortunately, that's exactly what PNB Rock was doing before his untimely passing. Blowing up off the triple platinum selling Selfish, PNB was one of Atlantic Records' biggest.
If you don't know, I'm from Philly, bro. So when he passed, bro, that shit hit hard, bro. That shit hit hard, bro. For real, cause like we got to see him perform in fucking high school, like auditoriums, to him fucking performing at the Wells Fargo Center. If you don't know, Wells Fargo Center is our big center here in Philly. Like we got to see the process of the mixtapes turn to albums. He getting features from these major artists. He on soundtracks for shit. So when he passed, bro, that shit hurt so much because we see somebody come from where we from, make it, find success. You feel me? Success wasn't given to him. He fucking fought hard for that shit. And to see it taken away in like minutes fucking hurt so bad, bro. That shit hurt.
His prospects for the future when he appeared on the XXL Freshman cover. Suddenly enlisted for contributions to the Fast and Furious soundtrack while working with the likes of Nicki Minaj and even Ed Sheeran, he looked capable of becoming the next big star out of Philly. But like other people in his freshman class, his sound just stayed the same. And as a result, people were bored by the time he dropped.
And it's crazy because he was
changing
in 2019. He was changing his
Although
sound,
Death
bro.
has a funny way of making rap fans pretend like they were always someone's biggest fan, no one was checking for him after that project. And after all that went down, PNB got bitter towards his label, which he expressed on Instagram, saying, "Wish somebody would have sat and told me not to take the deal. I don't make money off my music. I got paper still." Eventually deciding to leave Atlantic, PNB wanted to regroup and had just begun releasing music again via a new distribution deal with Empire when he was tragically shot and killed in a botched robbery. Deprived of a second chance, all signs suggested that PNB knew that he had lost his way with music for a while and was ready to ramp things up again. After his death, Kodak Black, who would unfortunately blame his girlfriend for his passing for posting their location on Instagram shortly beforehand, explained that they had been talking about working together again. Shaking my head, PNB was my boy. I was just on the phone with him last night. We were talking about coming back out and popping his shit again in this rap shit. Although his baby mama was unfairly blamed for his demise, she eventually detailed what happened in an emotional post. It made it clear that PNB went out a hero. When PNB was killed, the XXL freshman class of 2017 was struck with tragedy. And sadly, this was not the first time. And the controversial XXX Tentacion experienced a similar fate. A man whose presence on the list was marred with controversy from the outset, XXX Tentacion was a volatile kid from Florida who used his artistic abilities as a way to soothe his mind.
When I was a kid, like I said, I was batshit fucking crazy. I would just fight way too much. I had problems with my mom. My dad wasn't around. I was just lost. Literally lost, numb. Like, I just...
And the reason a lot of people gravitated to X is because that statement that he just said right there. Like, a lot of kids from these inner cities around the world, like, felt what he was feeling. So when his music was wild, but if you listen to the lyrics, it was what everybody was feeling. Like, everybody could relate to how he was feeling. The anger that was built up. Like, he had, like, everybody, you know, behind him because it was like, yo, we feel what you're feeling. We can relate. And that's why, like, when X went, and he was killed, like that shit hurt a lot of people because he was like the one person, the young person who was perceived to be wild, but when he talks, you hear the pain and everything in his voice, bro. Like X was one of one, and it's unfortunate that he didn't get to see the success and to finish success and to see the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just getting there. And it was just very unfortunate, man. I remember that. I remember like that whole thing, bro. I remember the videos, the fucking everything, bro. Like it was fucking insane that day, bro. Like, I remember like on Instagram, on Twitter, bro, it was just X-filled. But like that shit, that was another one I heard.
Wasn't anywhere, you know? Amongst that, like, just growing up, like, just knowing I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do, music started to present itself.
But it wasn't just him that resonated with what he was doing. It was an army of kids who saw his honest and raw output as a window into themselves. So while there was many people who felt his high-profile domestic violence case meant that he shouldn't even be on the list, he showed up to the cypher and spit one of the most talked about verses in the history of XXL Freshman. But whether or not that's for the right reasons is a matter of taste.
And if the world ever has an apocalypse, I will kill all of you fuckers. Fear will be plentiful, death will be bountiful. I will spare none of you peasants. Fuck your religion, your past kids and got sent to a prison in PC. I seen the devil, he's in you women, you need saving to listen to this, see.
In spite of terrifying half the industry, X, who stayed independent his whole career, really showed no signs of falling off, and just kept flourishing after the Freshman freestyle. On his studio albums like 17 and his Question Mark album, X reached a generation of fans who streamed his music millions of times. And by the time he dropped the second project, he debuted at #1 on the charts with over 130,000 first week sales. But sadly, all that momentum would turn into mourning when he was killed and robbed in his home city of Broward County. I already dedicated a whole video to this, and what happened to him is an example of what happens when greed leads people to take a life in cold blood. Now, every man responsible is behind bars and will continue to be for a very long time to come.
You'll spend every hour and every day and every week and every year of your life in that cell. And one day, they'll come and open up that cell in the morning and you'll have passed on. And only on that day will you have served your sentence.
For XXXTentacion, the goal was never to be a mainstream artist. It just happened because people fell in love with what he had to offer. While for Portland's Amine, it seems like the only reason he's not a superstar is—
I fuck with Amine too. I still fuck with Amine. His new shit, the Kendrade shit that he got popping off, always fuck with Amine. I never in my mind thought he fell off. I just felt like a lot of people changed their sound. Like I feel like he was another person who elevated his sound. He didn't really necessarily graduate his sound. He elevated his sound and he changed it. And I feel like a lot of people didn't like the change. And a lot of people stopped listening to him. So I don't think like he like stayed the same. I feel like he changed, but the change he went, a lot of people didn't fuck with.
Is because he's basically gone out of his way to avoid becoming one. Breaking through on 2016's Caroline, Amine was plucked from obscurity to sign a deal with Republic Records in August of that same year. Less than 10 months on, he'd be announced as part of the freshman class. At the time, he brought a really interesting, unorthodox flavor to their ranks. Releasing his debut album Good For You just days after the XXL rollout, the album was met with positive reviews and has since been certified as gold. But where that album had a distinctly fun sound, Amine was instantly bored of doing that and has been switching things up ever since.
Yeah,
to be honest, if there's any reason why he hasn't become a major star, it's that. However, according to him, it's all by design.
I've just never, I've never been a fan of, like, whenever it's like, yo, man, I wish Amine would get back to doing Yellow on Good For You. I'm like, yo, that you'll never get that again. You know what I mean? And that's super intentional for me. I want every album to kind of have a different feeling. And, you know, some of my favorite artists, like Kanye.
I feel like as long as he's happy with what he's doing and he's still being successful in a way that's keeping him afloat, I feel like nobody should really care. I fuck with it. I still fuck with all of his music, this new music that he's putting out. So I think it's so good.
Have kind of done that. You know, I knew from the start I wanted my discography to feel, you know, like you got a lot out of it. And I think I have like a voice that people recognize.
After 2020's Limbo performed way better than the previous record, most people would be frantically trying to make the most of the hype. But instead, Amine opted to not release another record for another 3 years. And when he did, it was a collab project with the Canadian producer K Tronda, which received the worst sales of his entire career. But as usual for Amine, it received critical acclaim, opting to throw his audience all kinds of musical curveballs that just don't result in mainstream success in this current climate, and refuses to do anything to try and grab attention, as he just wants to be revered for the quality of what he delivered.
And he does, bro. For me,
super important, where I just want people to know me for my work and the quality of my work. I don't want to be known as the guy who pulled up and did antics in order to be famous. For me, I just want to be known for my work, you know, as an MC as well.
In Amine's case, his fans will always stick by him because, by all accounts, his insistence that he doesn't want to be famous is very real. However, the final entry in this list has tried so hard to be enigmatic that even his cult fan base are getting a little sick of it. Brought into the world of hip-hop by people like Uno the Activist and Awful Records, Cardi found his way into the mainstream via A$AP Rocky's Og Records, and after his self-titled mixtape blew up, he really embraced the superstar role.
Iced up without a tape, 2 cribs without a tape, 2 hoes without a tape, 2 deals without a tape.
He's a superstar, you know?
I don't gang bang, I don't do none of that street shit. I'm a pop star. I'm in here to stay. Keep that street shit over there. $1,000 sandwich.
2 months after dropping his debut tape, he was on the XXL freshman list, and by the time he dropped Die Lit the following year, there was a time where it really felt like Cardi could do no wrong in his audience's eyes. But nowadays, maybe not so much. After the long-awaited—
I'm gonna be honest, bro. After like I think after the album that Luis that just brought up, I think I stopped listening to Cardi. Because once he started doing this vampire shit, I was like, all right, bro. I was like, all right, bro. Once again, that's me just growing up and be like, all right. Maybe that wild shit when I was like younger, I'm like, oh, look at this motherfucker. He's doing some crazy shit. Fuck with it. Like, now it's like, bro, you know, and nigga, ain't you like 30? Like, come on, nigga, come on. Like,
A Whole Lot of Red finally dropped and left some fans underwhelmed. It feels like some people haven't been able to get on board with the new, more elusive Cardi and just find it a little embarrassing. Labeled the deadbeat dad by Iggy Azalea, arrested for allegedly putting his hands around the throat of his pregnant girlfriend, as well as reckless driving, and recently best known for finessing Aiden Ross out of a bag, Cardi seems intent on doing everything but dropping projects. As a result, all of the antics overshadow his attempts to be boundary pushing, while for others, his new flow and delivery makes it hard for fans to understand what he be saying.
Anybody who speak Cardanese, translate what the fuck he just said. Anybody who speak Cardanese, please translate that. Please, I'm not saying it's, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think the flow is bad. I just think if I hopped on the track and said, the producer would tell me to get the fuck out.
But there are also issues regarding Cardi's growth as an artist that aren't all necessarily his fault. Alongside Kanye West claiming that his label situation is a mess, there's also an argument to be made that much like his former friend Lil Uzi Vert, he hasn't been able to put out the best music because so much of it is stolen beforehand. In fact, his music has been subject to so many leaks that Cardi's longtime producer Filthy said that his fans have basically prevented them from putting out new material.
They leaked another Cardi song. They ruining everything, just so y'all know. That's why niggas ain't record. We don't do nothing. Fuck y'all niggas. Niggas had an album for y'all. It wasn't make-believe.
Now, there's no denying that out of everyone in the 2017 XXL freshman class, not named XXX Tentacion, he's the only one who's managed to stay as relevant as ever, if not more so. However, with fans growing impatient,
I definitely think he's more relevant than he was before. Definitely more relevant. For the right reasons, not so much. But like, he's definitely more relevant than he was before.
His stick rating on them, there's no denying that he could be even bigger. And now, with so much pressure on his shoulders, yet again, he has to deliver on his next project to ensure that he doesn't join the long list of XXL alumni who've fallen off after once seeming so essential to the industry.
I mean, he hit on a lot of things right in the head. Like, a lot of stuff I said before the video, a lot of stuff I said in breaks, he then proceeded to say, like, it's a lot of guys just either passed away. A lot of guys got signed to bad deals. A lot of guys, like a lot of their fan base just eventually grew up and they changed. And like, you can't expect people to continue to listen to something that wasn't really great in the first place. It was great when you're younger, but when you get older and you start to like actually listen to lyrics, and then it's like, bro, what the fuck are you saying? This shit doesn't make sense. This has no like value to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for everything. And when people grow up, that place for that old thing has to go. Like, it has to go. And a lot of these artists are realizing this the hard way. Like, enjoy your success while you have it, especially if you're not willing to change or you're not talented enough to change. Enjoy your success, invest your money, because you do not want to be one of those people when the time changes, you get left behind. That's all I would say to that situation. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.